Hey everybody, it's Sandrine, and welcome to the land of the rising sun. I journeyed across Japan in search of other Jamaicans who are doing it big. Watch my interviews with entrepreneurs, authors, mothers, and folklorists. Watch also as the Jamaican culture is weaved into the Japanese way of life. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have the lovely Miss Sandie here, and she has some very special items here. Sandie, I'd love for you to introduce yourself so that the world already knows your name.
No.
Yes, they do. So let's just introduce yourself for everybody to know who you are.
Okay, hi everyone, all of Sandrine subscribers, special subscribers. My name is Sandie Heron. I am from Jamaica and I am now living and working in Japan for 3 years. I am also the author of this lovely book, Journey into the Unknown, which was published on August 1st. So, yeah.
Thank you. Alright, so we have a stack of books here. Sandie, a lot of people envision becoming an author. Was this a part of
Yeah, I forgot to put in the blurb.
Like, I don't know, why am I nervous?
Big interview.
Alright, so
Be yourself, me and talk, we're afraid. You forgot to put in the blurb.
Because, you know, I'm not looking at you as the author, so I was like, jeez, I feel so intimidated.
Why are you intimidated?
Holding the books.
You write more book than me.
I wrote one book. Alright, so I bought a digital copy of this book, right? And for a lot of people, you can sit down and you can read this book in one go, because as soon as you start reading it, you become so engrossed into the content, and it's as if you are being brought on into a personal journey, like you're being brought along a personal journey, and you can relate to exactly what you're saying in the book. Also, although the book is small, the content is great, so you'll find yourself going back to it, because I've read page 1 so many times on my tablet. Like, I keep going back to it, and I said, every time I look back, I say, did I miss something when I read it the first time? It's the same words, but it depends on where you are in your life. You read it a little bit differently, and it speaks to you a little bit differently. Now, I want you to tell me, what was the inspiration behind writing this book in the first place?
Okay, that's very happy to hear, Sandrine. That makes me feel very much motivated. So what inspired me to write the book? The book really is my personal journey from Jamaica coming to Japan, but not just that, everything that transpired before I made the journey into the unknown. So what happened? I was working in Jamaica for 5 years as a paralegal, and I enjoyed my profession and I wanted to grow in that field. And so much so that I started to study law at the University of the West Indies, right? And I thought that this path looked very lucrative, and you know, you'd look like a big shot if you did go down the road.
The lawyer beside your name,
you know, LLB and everything. But there was a little dilemma, Sandrine, in that I did not feel within myself that that was the route that I was supposed to take. And I had so many people in my life who wanted the best for me and was encouraging me to go down that route, but I just felt uneasy about it, right? And so there was this dilemma. I was working and I felt as if my time at my workplace was up. Like, listen girl, where you are right now, the time has come for you to move on. But it was difficult for me because I did not know what to do and I did not know where to go. And so I
think this is why a lot of people resonate with your book. It's because a lot of the times what stops us from going forward is we know that we have come at a place in our lives when we know that there's no other place to go. We've accomplished all that we can accomplish at this particular journey. But because we're so afraid, we as human beings, we want to know, we want to see, we want to say, all right then, this is step A, this is step B. And for a lot of people, we'd like to say, all right then, follow these rules, and then by the end of your life you will be happy. But unfortunately for a lot of us, that script is not for us.
Yes.
You understand? And in your walk, you came to that end, and you came to the realization that yes, I need to move, but you were unsure about where you were supposed to move to.
Yes.
But what exactly prompted you to come here to Japan?
To Japan. Well, that's an interesting story. It actually was a dream. You can believe that?
You saw yourself here in Japan?
Girl, I went to my bed and I had a dream that I was in Japan. It's actually twice.
Stick a pin. You had a dream about Japan. Was it that you knew about Japan before? Because when you come in here, the only thing I knew about Japan was the infomercials that CVM TV would show on a Friday evening. And maybe what we saw. The Asian community in Jamaica is spread out, so we saw Chinese individuals,
yes.
but not Japanese.
No, not
you
so
understand?
much.
So, what was it? Was it that the dream just came to you as a vision, or did you have some experience of Japan before?
Okay, so a couple months after I got baptized, when I was 25 years old, I started having these dreams. I like, when I thought to myself, I was like, it's so weird. Like, I went to bed last night and I dreamt that I was in this country called Japan. So that was when I was 25. I actually had an experience where I woke up and I was feeling pain in my stomach, and my sister made me tea, and then I went back to bed, and I just heard as if a voice said to me, you will be going to Middle Eastern Asia. You will be going to Japan. I kid you not. I remember it like it's today.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, on the pillow. I heard.
Can you imagine you're hearing that? Did you think you were going crazy at the time?
No. You know, like when we're home and we're like, it's like something said to me, or it's like one mindset.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. And so I stopped, because I was having so many dreams at the time. I had started journaling. So I woke up in the morning and I wrote it in my journal, exactly what I heard and the experience. And then I started researching, okay, where is Japan? What is their religion? How many people are there? So I started researching at that time.
Okay.
So several years later, when I was going through that dilemma,
so you did not make your transition at the age of 25 when you got that vision?
No.
So what you're saying is this. Sometimes the vision will come to you, or sometimes things will come to you that says, all right, then it's time for you to move, but just not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. So a lot of the times we have our desires and we say, all right then, I desire to buy a car, but you know it's not yet. You know, you see yourself driving a car, but it's just not yet. It's just not the right time.
Right.
You understand? So for you, it was just not that particular time.
It wasn't that time, and I like the way you put that, because sometimes God plants something in our spirit, or He is planting something in our spirit, but we don't catch it at the same time.
That is true.
Because at that time, I never thought to myself, oh, you know, maybe this is the Holy Spirit that is talking to me. I was not even familiar at that time with the voice of the Holy Spirit, and that it could actually be a tangible voice that you can hear, just as you're here talking to me right now. So I did not make the connection at that time. I just wrote it down and I spoke to my friends about it. I'm like, you know, last night this happened, blah, 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 and stuff. So several years later now, when I was going through this drama at work and feeling uneasy within my spirit and wrestling with my journey and what should I do in my career, in my relationship, and then one night I just had a dream
that you were here,
that I was in Japan.
So walk us through that journey though, because for a lot of people to uproot from something that to them seems concrete to something that seems sure. You're sure of your paycheck every month, you're sure of having your family around you, you're sure of your friends that comfort zone that you have developed for yourself. The thing is, for a lot of people, they've grown to become comfortable in that zone. What was it for you that propelled you to move, that you just felt like I needed to shake out of this and go into the unknown?
The unknown. One main thing, I was afraid of walking out of the will of God for my life.
How so? Because you had the dream and then you got the voice.
Yeah, but God can be leading us to do things and we still don't have the courage to fully go into what He wants.
The courage. Alright.
So I really was afraid of walking out of the will of God for my life, because I say this because I was going to pursue law, but there was something about me that was so uneasy about that decision. I did not feel like I was doing it for the right reasons, and I did not feel like it was a good fit for me, even though I had been working in a legal capacity for so many years. So I just said that I needed to be obedient, and that's what I wanted more than anything else.
I can feel you on that. Obedience.
Yes.
Obedience is key. I think a lot of times we delay our blessings because we're not obedient. And even with you becoming an accomplished, published author.
That's so nice to
Even with you becoming a published author, it was because of your obedience to make that step from Jamaica to Japan. Tell us now about your journey. Like, alright, you decided, alright then, I'm going to leave. How did you come to Japan?
Okay, so first of all, how that I'm gonna leave. So I took up my enough self for the international audience, and I'm going to understand that part. I know you have your subscribers all over the world. I took up myself and I told my employer that you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Because I read the book every day.
Did you know the story? So I told my employer that I was going to move on, which is one of the bravest things that I've ever done. My employer was a fantastic person, fantastic human being, was so good to me. And then I had to tell him that, you know, I was going to move on. But at the time when I resigned, I had no plan.
Stick up in. So you resigned from a short job?
Yes.
Without having a plan B?
No plan B. I just
felt in your spirit that it was time to go.
Time to go, and I just said that
I wonder if I can do that.
Do not try this at home.
But that's true. That's true.
You know, you have to exercise wisdom, and it's important.
Wisdom.
And it's important to state as well that one person's journey is not another person's journey. And what I do and what Sandrine will do, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what you should do, right? So it's important that we make that disclaimer. But I told my employer that I was going to leave and I had no plan. But I don't know, I think I got to a place of full surrender, and I'm like, God, I was praying, I was fasting, I'm like, Lord, lead me, let me know what you want me to do and where you want me to go. And so I resigned, and I have a property in Jamaica that I was paying mortgage for, and I had my car, and I was thinking, okay, if I don't have the job, there's a possibility that I might lose the house, and then I'm probably gonna have to sell the car to pay for my debts and all of that. I do not know how I got to that place where I just thought it would be okay. It would be okay if I lose.
Even though you found yourself in you were in an unsure situation, you found peace.
Yeah.
And for those individuals who are spiritually inclined, they will understand that biblically speaking, God will give you peace that encompasses all understanding. So it would be difficult for you to explain to another person what exactly it is that has been placed in your heart, especially for outsiders to look and say, look how the girl left her a good job, and yet still she's walking around as if everything is going to be alright. She mad.
Yeah, you must be crazy. I would be thinking that too about somebody else, you know, if I didn't understand their journey. And so, you know, I had that peace, Sandrine. And it is when I had that peace, when I said to myself, it would be okay if I lose everything. That is when I had the dream about Japan. So it came after, and I saw myself in Japan. I saw children playing all around me. I saw myself walking down the street, meeting friends, and all of that.
And that's exactly what has transpired.
And that is exactly what has transpired in my life.
How did you come to Japan though? Because I know there are several ways of
Yes.
persons who want to come to Japan from Jamaica, whether it is through marriage to a Japanese citizen, because the Japanese community in Jamaica has grown because of the music and dancehall arena. Interact, Jet, other private hires. How did you make your transition here?
Okay, so after I had a dream, I saw a girl who I went to UE with when I did my first degree. She had pictures of herself in Japan, and so I asked her, how did you get there? And she told me that she had applied to teach. And then 2 weeks later, she sent me the link for Interact and told me that they were hiring. And so I just jumped on it and I applied, went through the application process. And then a couple months later, I made the transition to live here.
Okay. So you've left Jamaica, the land of music and noise and car horns and people, you know, always bright and sunny and bubbly all the time, despite, you know, everything that is happening in Jamaica. People always find a way to make themselves happy. And then you transition here to the place where people will look and then look away. And you have neighbors, but you just don't know if you have neighbors. You know they're there, but you don't know if they're there. And the place is just so deathly quiet. How did you cope with the transition from that environment to this environment? Did you have did you have like the culture shock moment?
Yeah, I did. I definitely experienced culture shock. When I moved, I went to live in a small town called Kakuda. That's in northern Japan, in Miyagi. And
I've never
she hasn't been there
before.
Well, she has lived in the country, so she knows what country life is
That
like.
is true.
Right?
That is true.
So she's living in the country now, and I lived in the countryside before, a very small town. The place was so quiet that sometimes I would be in my apartment and the only activity that I would hear, especially at night, is my neighbor who lived on the top floor snoring.
Hold up, you could hear the person above you snoring. It was that quiet.
Yeah, and then I had the bed that you had to climb on the ladder.
Oh,
So
so you were closer
to
to the roof and he was closer to you.
Right. So I could hear him snoring, right? And so it was so quiet, and there weren't a lot of foreigners in Kakuda. I had never seen another black person. So it was very different.
It was
and
isolated.
I was isolated, and yes, I went through that period of culture shock. I went through that period of depression. So
talk about the isolation aspect of things and how that affected you on a mental level, because you just mentioned depression, right? I know for myself personally, being isolated, I went through that phase of depression, and then you go through if you stay long enough, you go through different phases of being here in Japan. You went through, you're now in isolation, you're feeling like, what have I done?
yeah.
Yeah, so like, I sold my car, I gave up my house, and I'm now here. Like,
Yeah.
you go through that phase. Like, how did you cope? What did you do?
How did I cope? I had my friends on speed dial, right? So whenever I felt down, whenever I went through that period of depression, I would just have a close friend, one of my core friends, who I would call and talk to about how I was feeling. And there were a lot of things that I was experiencing that I could not even share with friends back home because they could not relate. And so I am so thankful for persons who I met here within the Jamaican community who I could call to say, you know, today I was at school and I don't talk to anybody today. Because of course you can't, the language barrier is there, and they can be like, oh, you know, third period I was free too and I just sat down and read a book. So they could relate. So that was a very important part of my coping mechanism as well. And I journaled, I listened to music, and just tried different things to keep myself upbeat.
Okay. I think a lot of people, a lot of Jamaicans here can relate, especially when you are alone here and you do not have, it's different for persons who have their partners or who have their kids. So, you know, you're looking forward to going home because there's somebody there to speak with, or there's somebody there who can understand. When we go off into our own language, so it feels like home, even though you're not necessarily home. You understand? But you went through that. How do I say this now? Do you believe that you were placed in that situation of isolation? What was a greater purpose? What was a takeaway from that experience for you?
The biggest takeaway from that is that I realized that sometimes God has to place us in a season of isolation for our protection.
Amen.
Right? And I did not realize that, because the season of isolation that I went through, it was all encompassing. It was a total isolation, because before I left Jamaica, I was very active on social media, posting all the time. I had a blog, I had a vlog as well, and so I was active in that sphere. But when I came here, everything stopped. And I never understood that. I never understood the reason for my separation. But then it's afterwards that I realized really that going through those months, almost a year of just being totally separated, how much I had grown, how much I had evolved as a person. And then I realized the value of my journey, because had I not gone through that and had I not grown, then what would I have to write about?
That is true. And I also believe that for a lot of people, the fear of journeying into a space or journeying into a place where they feel as if, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. Oh my God, I'm not going to know anybody. I'm not going to be in that, you know, I can't function, I can't operate. That fear is what prevents them from establishing themselves. That fear is what prevents them from becoming. You understand? And I think her book, y'all, you need to go out and get a copy, is an indication that you are not alone. Others have done it before you, and there are going to be others who are going to do it after you. But are you going to do it? That is the question. Are you going to journey into the unknown, as Sandie here and myself has done? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have a story to tell. And for a lot of people, they not only have a story to tell, they learn and they grow and they become. Now that you've written your book, Sandie, and it has become an inspiration to a lot of people, including myself,
And me.
an inspiration for you as well.
Yes.
The bigger question is this now, Sandie. What's next? Where else are you going to be journeying into?
That's a good question. I have no plans as yet. And for some people, you know, when you're thinking about what's the next step, if you say to them, well, you know, I have no specific plans as yet, for those persons with other personality types, they will be like, but how? You must know what you're gonna do after Japan. Is it that you're gonna stay, or are you gonna move to another country, or are you gonna move back home? How many years do you plan to stay here for? But I realize
have a lot of questions.
They have a lot of questions, and sometimes for the person who is in the situation, you do not always have the answers to all of those questions. And it is important to know that to not have the answers is okay. And that's a reminder that I have to give myself all the time, because I ask myself those questions because I'm here now and I've been in Japan for almost 3 years. And the question comes, okay, Sandie, what are you going to do? And it's terrifying.
One thing I have learned is, just as how you said previously that when you were at your job as a paralegal, you knew that it was time to pack up and go, but to go where you didn't know.
Yes.
But the thing is, you were prepared for where God was about to take you.
Yes.
And your preparation came in the form of your education. So a lot of the time, people need to understand that even though you're in a stage of waiting, you should also be waiting and doing, waiting and preparing. All right, that's just my advice. Can you give, for your final word, what advice would you give to individuals who are in that space? They know instinctively that I cannot stay here. This does not suit me. I know that there's more to accomplish. There's a lot more outside. There's just a burning fire within that they can't really explain, but they know. What advice would you give to those individuals?
Okay, what I would say to those persons, first, before I even say that, there's something that you just said just now. Sometimes where we are, we do not know that we are being prepared there, or that we have been prepared. We don't know that that job that you have, that relationship that you have, that friendship that you have, that place where you live, that it is giving you tools, it is helping you to grow. With that place that we want to run away from so much, sometimes that is the place of preparation before God launches us into something else. And you know, so it's important that we do not despise where we are. Wherever we are. But as a final word, if instinctively you believe with your heart, soul, and mind that God is leading you into something new, whatever it is that comes into your spirit, then I want to advise you, just as we have done, to let you know that it is okay for you to pursue it. If you feel it and you strongly believe it, even if you don't have all the answers, even if all you can see is one step, take it. And sometimes it is in taking that step that things will just begin to unfold, and unfold beautifully.
Amen. Amen. That was a word. Thank you so much, Sandie, for coming on, and thank you so much for allowing me to do an interview for you.
Yes.
And thank you so much for writing this book, and I know that this will be an inspiration for others, because it has inspired me, and I know for the persons who have bought your book, they have been inspired as well.
Yes.
So guys, please go out and get your copy of Journey into the Unknown by Sandie Heron.
Yes.
And please remember to like, share, and to subscribe, because you'll be seeing Sandie again quite soon. I don't know for what yet, but I know I'll be dragging her along, like, come to Sandie, come on my page again. But yes, thank you so much, Sandie, and it was my pleasure having you on my channel today. Guys, remember, you know, like, share, and to subscribe.
Yes, guys, and like, share, and subscribe to Sandrine's channel, and let's do a little giveaway. So we will give away, because Sandrine has just been a blessing to me, so I want to give away 5 copies to 5 of her subscribers. Now, Sandrine, how are they going to get 5 copies of the book?
Oh my God, you just put me on the spot. I was not expecting this at all.
What do you want them to do? Because Sandrine's interview has been such a blessing to me, so I want to do something special. So we are going to give away 5 copies of Journey into the Unknown to 5 lucky subscribers. So Sandrine, what are the requirements?
Okay, the requirements are, guys, this is not planned at all. She surprised me with the requirements are to invite somebody to like my page here, and to follow me on Instagram. So my name is Sandrine Wade on Instagram, and to comment on Instagram that you are coming from YouTube, and also to comment on YouTube that Journey into the Unknown. So comment Journey into the Unknown, and I'll be picking 5, or I'll be choosing 5 of my subscribers to get a copy of this book.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Sandie, and thank you so much for coming on my program. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Bye. Oh.